Calm falls over the building as the lights dim. All right, cool. What's up? My name is Jim Davis. I'm a professional Magic the Gathering player and full-time content creator, which is kind of a crazy thing to say, honestly. When I try to explain what I do to people, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to them often. So what does that mean exactly? Going to go over myself a little bit, and remember to talk about the topic I am discussing today is 5 pieces of advice for aspiring content creators. And a really common thing in gaming is, I want to do content. I want to do YouTube. I want to do Twitch. I want to stream. I see Mr. Beast or I see Shroud or whatever, and they do all this crazy stuff on Twitch, and I want to do that. That's a really cool job. How can I do that? So we're going to go over that today. A little bit myself. I've been playing professional Magic now for... My first pro level event was in 2006. It was in Hawaii. It was a Magic the Gathering Pro Tour. I've been playing Pro Magic on and off since then. More recently, as of late, I played in paper Magic tournaments all over the world. Played in arena tournaments, which is the online version of the game. And it's funny, I've been almost like semi-retired for the last 7 years. I've been doing content full time, but I've had my best pro season in the last year. I came 5th at Worlds. The World Championship. I played in a pro tour a few weeks ago. Did reasonably well, and it's almost more of a side gig now though, because my main gig is content creation, and I'm doing this now full time for 7-ish years. Starting out small, obviously. That's how you always start out, basically. And then now I'm full time. I just hired a second employee. My wife does my YouTube, my first employee. I just hired an assistant last week, which is super awesome, and it's pretty cool to be in a spot where I'm actually hiring people. I'm a business, which is kind of wild, but that's what being a content creator is. You're kind of like at the time, one-man business. Now I'm a multi-person business, but you are kind of everything, and you are doing all of your stuff all the time, which I'll get to. And it's basically just kind of crazy. And I'm just very, very lucky to do what I do. So let's move on to... Oh, and then a little reminder, more things that I do. Aside from what I do as a content creator, I do YouTube, I do Twitch are my main platforms. I do videos on YouTube, and I stream on Twitch. And I also do appearances at events like this we're doing right now. I'll be in Orlando for Command Fest in April, and I still travel for professional events also. Before Command Fest in Orlando, I'll be in San Diego the weekend prior, playing in the regional championship at DreamHack, which is super cool. And I do articles for CoolStuffInc.com, written articles and video articles. As I said, Twitch and YouTube. I do sponsor content as well. Companies will contact me to influence for their game or whatever. For Battle Spirit Saga is a video I put out a few days ago. I was contracted by Bandai to do that, which is kind of cool. And you can see the picture. Reed Duke won the last Pro Tour. He was on my team, which is super cool. So kind of cool to still be involved in the pro Magic scene in that way too. So moving on to the topic at hand. 5 pieces of advice for aspiring content creators, because people have no idea what being a content creator really entails, and no idea how to really get into it in a logical way. They think, oh, I'll just make a YouTube account. I'll just make a Twitch account. And that's you can do that. That is very easy. But as far as being a content creator, it's a little more complicated. So first piece of advice here is, it is not your job until it is your job. And that might sound a little redundant, but the reality is that you don't just start doing content full time. You don't, just have bunch of viewers all of a sudden, or sponsorships, all the things you build up over time. That doesn't happen, obviously. It's almost more like being in a band, or doing a creative endeavor. Say you're an artist who want to do a comic book. You don't just write for Marvel. You do something independent. In your spare time, you draw, or you're in a band. You play some guitar, get together the band, play a local dive bar. You play some shows, and then slowly from there, if you manage to pick up a following, you kind of grow a little bit, and it kind of starts out as this organic thing where you are building from nothing and building your way up. And until it's at the point where it is a job, where it's the thing you're solely relying on for your income, and you've made the decision in your life that you can do that you can, okay, I am stable enough now because it is kind of a swingy job. You're not sure your income month to month. You make X ad revenue this month, Y this, no sponsorships come in, don't make any prize money, whatever it is. You need to be in a pretty stable spot to take a shot at it. And at that point, you can consider it your job. That's a pretty difficult thing to get to, So the band analogy again, you don't start a band and just open for the Foo Fighters in Madison Square Garden. That never happens, So you gotta kind of work your way up, and you should be looking at content creation, if you're interested in it, like that, because your goal is to understand that this is not going to be it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint kind of thing. You're going to have to work yourself up and figure out how to do that and kind of work into it. And it's also important to note that being a professional gamer or a content creator is not just playing games all day. It's a super common misconception. They're like, oh, that dude plays games for a living. How lucky. And like, yes, I am very, very lucky for sure. But, you know, I would say that the minority of the things that I do content-wise is just playing games. Where, you know, while maybe say 35% of my time is spent playing games, a lot more of it is spent doing administrative stuff, putting up videos, editing things, planning, you know, a lot of back-end stuff. And it's a lot of stress, honestly. It's the kind of thing where you're a one-person business. It really blurs the lines between your work life and your home life. You know, if someone has a 9-to-5 job, they're an accountant, whatever. They get up, they have breakfast, they go to work, check in, clock in, do their work all day. 5 o'clock, they clock out, they go home. That's it. They're done. They go home, you know, hang with their family, have dinner, do whatever they want, and the hours are not on the clock. And when you're a content creator, you're basically always on because you've chosen to monetize basically a section of your life. You've chosen to say, okay, I have this passion that, you know, whether it's a game or music or whatever it might be. You know, there are content creators do all sorts of stuff. You've decided to monetize that. And now it's no longer a hobby, it's your job. And there's sometimes you don't want to go to work. That's just the reality of any job. You know, so there's a serious cost there that is, obviously, again, I'm very happy to do for a living, but I don't play Magic in my downtime really anymore. You know, it's used to be a hobby of mine, and now it's more when it's my downtime, I'm going to go play StarCraft or watch, you know, a hockey game or do basically anything but Magic because it's my job and I want to be off the clock kind of thing. So that's a thing that people don't really understand and realize. There's kind of this sort of unseen cost to doing content. You also feel like you always need to be doing content too, where if I'm playing a game of Magic in my spare time, I'm like, well, I could be recording this. Why am I not recording this? I could be doing content right now. Or say we're walking around the convention, you know, with my family and, oh, we take a picture right now of the baby. That'd be cute. Put it on Instagram. It'd be a cool thing to do, you know, and there's times where you need to just learn to turn yourself off, which is kind of challenging as well. So when it is a job, it becomes your job, but it's important to recognize that until you're there, you shouldn't treat it as such. It shouldn't be that necessary obligation, and you got to build up to it. Vice number 2, establish what your goals are up front. And this is very, very important if you want to get into content creation because, like I said, you're not just going to be opening a Madison Square Garden. You're not going to be on the front page of Twitch. So decide what you want to do. You know, decide, is this going to be a hobby? Are you happy just, you know, playing on Twitch once a week? You're playing, you know, WoW, you're raiding with your friends, want to hang out. You know, some people stream on Twitch kind of just to hang out with their friends. They have a small friend group. They stream on Twitch so they can see what they're doing and so on and so forth. That's great. That's super cool. Make YouTube videos of whatever you want to, I don't know, whatever you want to do, your hockey games, your this and that, you know, and that's cool. That's super awesome, you know, but it's a really good idea if you're serious about content creation to decide what are your goals. Do you want to be full-time? Is that the kind of thing you want to build towards? And then be able to understand what it takes to build up to that. You know, nothing wrong with being a weekend warrior. There's no problem just kind of streaming once in a while, having fun, having your 9 to 5, and then, you know, I'm going to, Wednesday nights, I'm going to stream. I'm going to go on Twitch, maybe build a little bit of audience. That'd be pretty cool. Full-time is a good goal. It's obviously a cool thing to work towards, but you need to be very, very realistic about it and understand that it's going to take a lot of baby steps to get there, which we'll go over in our next steps. And you definitely should not be quitting your day job, basically. You know, say you're streaming kind of casually, you get that one big raid for 1,000 viewers, you didn't make it. You know, that's great, that's awesome, but that doesn't mean you are there yet. It requires a lot of stability, kind of building yourself up, and then being at a plateaued spot where you can go, okay, it's been pretty stable for a while now. I think this is enough to live off of, and I can do that, which is the thing to do. So next and most important one, and this is if you're serious about this and you are establishing your goals and your goal is, I want to be a full-time content creator. I want to do it. This is the most important thing by far, not even close. Figure out why someone would want to watch you. And it might sound harsh, you know, like it's, you know, you could say it derisively, why would someone want to watch you? But the reality is that you can think about the people you enjoy watching and you can think about why you watch them, you know, and you need to have that for yourself in your own content, because if there's no reason to watch you, why wouldn't they watch someone else? There are literally infinite things you can watch, you know, on Twitch, on YouTube, Netflix content. The content options are limitless. And in the digital age, it's not like you're going to be the only band playing at the bar, so people there are going to hear you. People have the ability to click on and off at moment's notice. So you're combating with essentially the entirety of media on the internet at any given time, which is very daunting, obviously. So you need to ask yourself, all right, why are people going to stop doing that, not watch Last of Us, not watch Shroud, not watch Day 9 or Mr. Beast or whatever, and they're going to watch me instead? And until you have the answer to that question, you are not going to get anywhere, basically. And what's the answer going to be? Well, we'll use some examples. So in the Magic sphere, Reed Duke. Reed Duke is a Hall of Fame Magic player, just won the Pro Tour. He is one of the best Magic players of all time. And you tune into Reed because you want to see the literal best in the world do something. Reed is a very calm, very collected guy, very smart guy. He's a really, really cool dude. I've enjoyed hanging out with him a lot. But he's definitely not of the boisterous entertainment type. He's very stoic, kind of calm. So you tune in to watch him because he's just the literal one of the best Magic players in the world. So I want to watch the best. I watch Reed. That's why you watch him. That's his competitive advantage. That's his why. Why I want to watch you? Because you're the best. And that's the kind of advantage that people who are at the top of their game have. They have this ability to, all right, I'm just the best. You want to watch the best, or you want to not watch the best? It doesn't matter how entertaining they are or whatever it is. They're just the best, and there's no one else to watch in that regard. You people like Aspiring Spike, who's a modern content creator for Magic, and Aspiring Spike, relative to Reed, was, I'm not gonna say a nobody, but was a relative unknown. Had some mild tournament success, but wasn't really particularly well known at all. So he is the kind of story where he came up from a much smaller start and he kind of built his way into popularity, where now he's one of the most popular modern streamers in Magic. And he did so by picking a format and doing kind of one thing. He plays modern, he plays it really, really well, and he brews decks that are very, very interesting literally every day on stream. Every day you go to his stream, he has some cool new deck. He does a lot of work off stream also, which is very interesting to me because I don't play off stream. He does. He's an animal. He's crazy, and he's unbelievably consistent, always on every day, always has a cool new deck, always playing the same format. And because of that, he has a huge following now, which has been a meteoric rise in the last 3 or 4 years. Really, really cool to watch. And it's very, very cool to see the people who come up from nothing in a sense, because for a lot of folks, that's where you got to come from. Most folks don't have the advantage of being a world-class Magic player or have won a Pro Tour or whatever it is. Another great example was Covert Go Blue, probably the biggest Magic YouTuber right now there is. Same thing, relative unknown, kind of came out of nowhere, did YouTube super well, was very consistent, picked one thing, focused on it, and did it phenomenally. He plays a new arena deck once a day in standard, best of one, and he also found an audience that was being underserved, which is also a really important thing too, in best of one. Most tournament players who stream do best of three. So he's like, all right, well, people play a lot of best of one on arena. I know they're playing it, the more casual players play that. They're not really involved in doing content that much, but they're going to watch content. He found that audience, he catered to it, and now he's the biggest YouTuber there is in the Magic space. Someone like Day9, outside the Magic space, who does Magic also, but Day9's been one of the most legendary content creators for the last 15 years or whatever. Started in StarCraft, honestly almost started content in a lot of ways, not himself obviously, but was a huge part of the kind of coming up of live streaming back when Twitch was called Justin TV. And Day9 is just phenomenal, plays multiple games now. He used to do StarCraft, but he is just, his competitive advantage is obviously he was there first, he was kind of an innovator, but also he's just super energetic, likable. He's a really positive personality, he's very fun, he's just really, really good at it. So, these are examples of other people, but when it comes to your own content, you need to kind of figure out, all right, well, that's why I watch them and them and them and them. What am I going to do? For myself, for example, I would say my answer to that question is I try and mix a blend of competitive and we'll say accomplished play. I'm typically, I would say, my resume of tournament winnings and so on and so forth is better than most average content creators. But I also bring the entertainment aspect as well. So a lot of content creators are either really good entertainers, they're very fun, they're very exciting, they do a bunch of fun stuff, or they're a tournament player like Reed, who's just one of the best players in the world, not particularly entertaining or whatever, but just really, really good. And my content's kind of a blend of that. Try to be really entertaining, but also have the competitive pedigree as well. So that's the most important thing. By far, not even close. Until you can answer that question, you should not consider doing content seriously at all. And that should be the number one focus of your time, figuring out, okay, I want to do content full time. This is how I'm going to have to do it. Must solve that question. Job one. Very important. Step 4, to go with the flow of your medium. This is very, very important. As a content creator, it's good to have multiple mediums. For example, my main platforms are Twitch and YouTube. So I do live streaming on Twitch. My YouTube is, it's cultivated from my Twitch streams, but it's not just like a straight dump. I don't just take my whole stream and put it on there. I kind of carefully cut it up. I live edit it. So it's like a YouTube video, but I am recording it live on stream. Those are my two main platforms, but I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. I'm also on Twitter. Those are my main 5 platforms. And it's good to be on multiple things, but each thing kind of follows certain rules, and you need to sort of make sure you're catering to each format as it is. Because if you try and do the things you would do on one format on a different one, and it's not correct for it, it's not going to work. So, for example, YouTube, Covert Go Blue again, nailed YouTube perfectly. YouTube is a format that rewards consistency. It's a great spot for longer videos, but not too long. His videos are about 40-ish minutes long. They're well cultivated and they're very, very consistent. People know on YouTube they can go every day, see a new video at X time. It can be the same kind of video, same format. There it is, very consistent. And he also built it up in a way where he made it a big deal that he posted every day. This is the 600th day in a row. This is the 800th day in a row or whatever. And 1,000 days was a huge thing for him, and that was very, very good. For Twitch, live streaming, different medium. Live streaming is a much more long form medium, and it's more like radio in a lot of ways, where you don't plan for your viewers to watch everything that's happening. You might stream for 8 hours. Most of your viewers are not going to be there the whole time. So it's the kind of thing where you need to recognize people are tuning in and tuning out. That requires kind of like repeating things a little bit, letting people know about certain things, kind of keeping a more relaxed vibe. It's pretty hard to go like 110 energy at the whole, all the time on stream kind of thing. So you got to be a little more relaxed. Caleb Durward, great example of that in Magic. He also at the time slot, similar thing too. Caleb's on every night. He starts at 5, 6 p.m. whatever. Goes about 1 in the morning, and so many folks say I fall asleep to Caleb every night because I put my stream on, I'm in bed, watch stream for half an hour, and then I fall asleep, and the stream's still on. And that's a great place to be. When you're a streamer and you want to kind of work yourself into people's routines, it's similar to YouTube in respect as far as consistency, but Twitch is more of a long form thing where you just kind of leave it on. Maybe you're working all day. I'm a daytime streamer, so folks will watch me while they're working. They'll be have one monitor on, they're watching, and then I'm part of their work day. And kind of like working into that's very important. Instagram is very, very different, obviously. Instagram is, photos, now videos and stuff too, very short form video content, and then obviously photo content, more about kind of, either being funny or being spontaneous, being location oriented, where am I, what am I doing? That's a new platform for me. People like Emma Skyward kill this platform. They do a really good job of kind of creating interesting content in just a picture. Maybe it's a caption, maybe it's, a kind of a funny meme, whatever it is. It's much more the kind of thing where you're gonna look at it, scroll through it, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. So whereas you might watch a video for 40 minutes, you might interact with a piece of Instagram content for 5 seconds, but that's the medium. That's how it works. TikTok, very similar. Like someone like Scott Seiss, who's the comedian who he does the angry rants about retail and stuff like that. Killer. 40 seconds long, kind of really quick cut edit, of him just making some jokes about something. It's one little topic, it goes through, it's funny, and it's over. And, it's the kind of thing where you almost watch it twice because it's so short and it's funny. And that's really, really good for metrics because they see that they're going to watch it more than once. That's really, really good. YouTube, Ryan George, I'm a big fan of Ryan George. He's the guy who does the pitch meetings and the kind of like short form, like skits and stuff like that. Just kills the format on YouTube. Kind of these short videos, they're 5 minutes long, they're skits, maybe 5 to 10 minutes long. And, those wouldn't really work on Twitch, but they're also too long for TikTok. So again, kind of just following the medium and kind of doing what you're trying to do. And it's important to be on multiple platforms if possible. When you go full time, when I started full time, it was just Twitch. Then I got on YouTube, and then I had a Twitter, and then now in the last year or so, I've expanded to Instagram and TikTok also. It's a lot of things to manage, a lot of work, but it's important to be able to spread out because there are different viewers on different platforms. So the viewers who watch you on Twitch might not be on TikTok and vice versa, or the people on YouTube. YouTube's kind of like the oldest platform, a little more boomery, whereas, and then TikTok's the total opposite. It's a much more young platform, much more kind of new, kind of a younger audience. And by diversifying yourself on these platforms, you're getting to everyone, obviously, which is pretty important too. So kind of figuring out the flow of each, figuring out what works for you and going there is very, very important. And then the last one is kind of related to the first one. Just have fun. I think it's the kind of thing where very similar to the idea of it's not your job until it's your job. Like streaming is fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be this kind of thing that you don't want to do or stressful in any way. Just have fun. You're playing a game. You're doing whatever you're doing. One of the things about my content career that I'm very fortunate about is that when I first started streaming, I had 100 viewers immediately because people knew me from doing well in tournaments. I had written articles for Star City Games for 5 years, leading up to when I first started streaming. I'd been playing in their tournaments nonstop. People had seen me on camera and camera matches and winning tournaments and doing well in things. And people knew, oh, it's Jim Davis. He plays the control decks. He likes goblins. I already had a kind of a resume and people already knew me at that point. So when I started streaming, I already had the viewership. I skipped that really, really hard first step. The hardest part of being a streamer, bar none, is going from 0 to 15 viewers. At first, it feels impossible because you start streaming, and again, why is someone watching you? And even if you're the best streamer in the world, if no one's watching you to find out, then how would you ever do that? Similar to being in a band, same analogy. You could take, some great band, the Foo Fighters or whatever, and put them in some dive bar in Alabama with 5 people in the bar, and they're going to play and they're going to kill it, but who's there watching, So I kind of skipped that part, which I'm very, very fortunate for. There are obviously years and years of playing in tournaments and traveling and so on and so forth. But there's going to be, if you don't have that advantage, you are probably going to stream to 0 viewers at first, and if you can't have fun with that, just don't do it, because the most important advice I give to new streamers is turn off your view counter and just go. Have fun. Pretend you're on Madison Square Garden. Pretend you're streaming to 10,000 people, and you turn your view counter off, so maybe you are, who knows, but just have fun. Just kind of enjoy it, go with the flow, enjoy, do what you enjoy doing, and then let the rest come naturally, and don't try and have any expectation that things are going to happen or things are going to come, because you'll just stress yourself out. And and I feel very fortunate that I kind of skipped that step a little bit. I'm almost cheated. I didn't cheat in a way. I guess I earned it from doing well in events and stuff. But really, really important. It's not sustainable if you're not going to enjoy it. And you see this often in streamers a lot, honestly. Streamers who have found themselves success in a single game. A good example, I guess, would be Vibe, a streamer that I like. He plays StarCraft. And he has a very, very similar kind of character arc to mine, where he played professional StarCraft for a couple years, did pretty well, not like incredible, but pretty well, was a well-known player. Decided to move into content and has been doing StarCraft content ever since, but he's been doing it now for 7 or 8 years, and he'll branch off into new games at times, but his viewership suffers because he's not doing the thing that he's known for. Again, back to the, why would someone want to watch you thing? They want to watch Vibe playing StarCraft because he's really good at StarCraft. So if he's playing the new zombie game or Diablo or whatever it is that he wants to do, it's not going to get him the viewership is. So you get locked in, and you see often with streamers where you can tell they're playing the game they're really good at, but they're not really having fun anymore because it has become a job and they've kind of lost their love for the game and want to do something else, but they know they can't because they're kind of trapped. And that's a dangerous thing too, and there comes a point where when it's your job, you have to show up to get paid. So even if he's not necessarily happy playing StarCraft or whatever, I'm using him as an example right now, but whatever, anyone else is fine. You still got to go, and now you're kind of hanging out, you're playing this game, you still like playing it, but maybe you're just kind of off it, you don't want to do it anymore, or whatever it is, you're kind of burnt out, you got to go to work, you just got to keep going. You can't just stop and do nothing. If you do something else, your numbers suffer, so it is it's a little bit of a trap there too, but that's obviously a little later on. But regardless, it's important to have fun, and your viewers see that too. Your viewers can see if you are not having fun or not having a good time. You may not think that you are expressing that really at all, but you are. And, people kind of feel that, and they might turn off the stream half an hour earlier than usual and not even know why, but it's just kind of a vibe thing, and I'm fortunate that, I really love playing Magic, and that I think that one of the positive comments that I get a lot is that you're just always really happy to be playing and positively playing, and I have friends I play Pro Magic with where they're kind of like, yeah, I'm at this pro event, it's kind of cool, I'm kind of burnt out, I don't play anymore, I don't know, whatever, maybe I'll show it to the next one. And they always do, but do you still love playing, Jim? It's like, yeah, I do. I'm really, really lucky that I do because I love what I do and I'm fortunate to keep doing it and not burnt out on it, which is pretty cool. So that's very, very important. Yeah, that's basically all I got for my my little spiel, if you will. So any questions on the floor, I'd be happy to answer them. And yeah, what's up? What's up?
So what makes you the most monetarily? Like, not numbers, but is it advertising? Is it value for value where people donate? Is it like the quote unquote where YouTubers used to be like, oh, you have 10,000 hits, we'll give you $50 or something.
The question is basically monetization. Where does the money come in from? It's a lot of different things. It's the kind of thing where any one single revenue stream from one of the things that I do would not be enough to be full time. So if I was only streaming on Twitch, I'd be struggling a bit. If it was only on YouTube, but the revenue streams are, YouTube get X from YouTube, I get Y from Twitch, I get Z or whatever from I have a contract with CoolStuffInc.com to do articles, so article writing. And there's sponsorships. I've been doing sponsorships recently where I did a video for Battle Spirit Saga. It's a new card game. They came out a few days ago. I've been doing sponsor streams for Emergence TCG, which is a new digital card game. Those are the kind of things you get into a little later on when you're already kind of well established. It's even more money. But the big ones are finding sponsors, finding contracts, Twitch, YouTube. I would say that TikTok, Instagram, not the most profitable, at least for me so far. I know some people do well on them, but like monetarily, they're more for like kind of get yourself out there, kind of keeping relevant and so on and so forth. Right. Yeah. Exactly. They're kind of like just advertising, whatever. But it's a variety of things for sure, and it's a really important thing too. I did a conference at TwitchCon in 2019 where they have TwitchCon, phenomenal convention if you're able to go if you're a content creator, and they had this like 5-hour course that was just sort of like crash course for full-time streamers. All Twitch partners were invited to go for free, and it was a cool thing. I'm like, all right, cool. So you got to treat yourself as a business. I'm business through and through. A lot of streamers don't do that very well, and they kind of just float along because they're good enough at content to get by, but they're not maximizing themselves at all. So I go to this thing. We sit at a table, and my group, there's 7 people at each table, and everyone's kind of talking before the thing starts, and people are like, there's one dude's like, yeah, I'm barely struggling. I only make like, $2,000 a month on Twitch. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not making enough money. And I'm like, oh, what are your other revenue streams? And he was like, what? I'm like, well, you don't have sponsors. You don't do YouTube. You don't do, what game do you play? What do you do? He's like, oh, I just stream. It's like, can't do that. That's a no-no. If I only was streaming or only doing YouTube, I probably wouldn't be getting by right now, honestly. So it's really important to be kind of spreading out. I think obviously it's dependent on the game you play also. I'm fortunate that in Magic the Gathering, there's a good market for written articles, written content. There are a lot of secondhand retailers that want people to go to their sites to buy cards. So they're happy to pay for people writing articles and things like that and content to bring to the site. So I'm fortunate that existed. And when I started doing that, I started writing articles for Star City Games in 2013. I wrote bi-weekly for like $50 an article or something like that. And it was like, it might have been a store credit, honestly. It was nothing, but that over the years slowly raised up, $100 an article, $200 an article, and then eventually built up to now I have a nice contract with cool stuff, which is great. So, it's the kind of thing where when I first started full time, I actually won a large event at the end of 2015. It was Star City Players Championship. I won $20,000. And I was like, all right. I was actually going to be getting out of Magic too, honestly, and then kind of go back to school and get my master's and stuff. But I'm like, all right, I won this money. I have a bit of a backing now. Let's take a year and do this. I'm gonna take a year to do content full time. I'm gonna go as hard as I can. I'm fortunate my wife was working at the time or whatever, and she was honestly for the first year or so breadwinning. She was making most of the money or whatever, and I was kind of just struggling along, doing my content, trying to build up and get on a solid footing or whatever, and now she works for me. So, oh yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it without her, which is just incredible. So, but yeah, it's really, really important to, have multiple streams, to be constantly assessing yourself for more streams as well. Just because your YouTube's doing good doesn't mean you can't look for a sponsorship or you can't look for something else to do or whatever else. So you're a business, and you really are, you're the talent or whatever, you're the performer, but you're also your PR person and your accountant and your scouting manager or whatever else. I don't know, I'm making stuff up, but you need to be out looking for, new sponsors and do this and do that. And you have to be doing it actively or you're just not going to get to that point where you're sustainable. So. So the question is, do streamers kind of incorporate themselves as LLCs, kind of take themselves into like a... Yeah, so I'm not an LLC. There's an earning threshold in each state, depends on your state, obviously, where if you're making less than a certain amount, it's not worth it to do. I have a tax guy. We go over it every year, and he told me that, until we're at this point or whatever, it's not worth doing. God, Nicole knows better than I do, honestly. I'm a sole proprietorship. And Nicole handles my YouTube and then kind of all my accounting stuff. Nicole does taxes. Nicole does all the back end stuff. Nicole's phenomenal.
So I pay myself too.
Yeah, Nicole does payroll, so she pays herself too. But yeah, so that's the kind of thing where you need to be really big to be at that point.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was sole proprietorship, some people I'm sure have partnerships or whatever.
Yeah, I have friends who are LLCs, content creator wise. I think CGB is now at this point, Covert Go Blue. because he's killing it. He's doing really, really well. And also it's the kind of thing too, where like, when I asked about this a year or two ago, maybe it wasn't a thing, but now this year, now I have 2 employees. I have Nicole, I have my new assistant I just hired, and we got to, we hired the assistant. All right, Nicole's doing payroll. We got to get his tax information. We got to do this and that, and now it's starting to really like feel like a business, which is kind of crazy, so maybe I'll read about it at some point too, but yeah, it's just an earning threshold thing where it becomes worth it or not worth it.
One other question.
Yeah, sure.
Not that there's any number, but around where would you say is the number where, say, well, I have another question. Say you're on Twitch and YouTube, number of subscribers where it would start to say, hey, maybe I can start looking at this.
Okay, so the question was basically viewership or number of subscribers, number of viewers where you feel like you can go full time.
Might be able to start thinking about it.
Yeah, it really depends, honestly. It depends on what your videos are doing too. Like for example, on YouTube, if you only get like, say, 2,000 viewers a video, but your videos are 2 hours long and your audience is watching a large portion of it, then that's, better in a lot of ways than getting, having a 1-minute video that gets 10,000 views, So I would say Twitch viewership, when you're over 100 viewers is where you kind of like think about, okay, you're already in the affiliate program. That's about where you get partnered, I believe, too. So you can't be monetized on Twitch. You can, I guess, I'm sorry. So Twitch has 3 basic functions. You're a basic account, which is nothing. You're a partner, which is what I am, where you are in their partner program. If you have to apply to it, kind of like really get into it or whatever, and that's where they pay you, whatever. And then in recent years, they added the affiliate program, which is kind of like in the middle, where if you hit a much smaller threshold, you can monetize yourself, but not as well, and so on and so forth. So the partner threshold, I believe, is around 100 average viewers. The follower count is not as important, it's just the viewers are, because you kind of just accrue followers over time. But yeah, I would say in the 100 range, you can start thinking about it. But as far as like making a comfortable living for yourself, maybe 300 to 400,
Start looking at the 100 and say, hey, if I can, this might make sense to start thinking about it, and if I can grow it to a certain point, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. If you're at 100 viewers, you're doing something right, like very right, because you're already at that point, above 99% of everyone else on Twitch. Because there are, whenever you go into any game category, any game you want, you pick a game, Magic, Fortnite, whatever. You sort it by viewership, and you see at the top, it's whatever, Ninja or whatever it is, You start scrolling down, all right, 10,000 viewers, 5,000 viewers, 4,000 viewers, a couple hundred viewers. You just keep scrolling. And it goes down 10 viewers, 8 viewers, 3 viewers. And from 10 viewers to 0 viewers, there are 100 people streaming. A lot of scrolling, and in all games, because that's the reality is you're trying to start up, that's where you're starting. Starting from the bottom, you got to get here or whatever kind of thing, So if you're in that 100 viewer range, you are already in the top percentile of Twitch, and you're doing something right for sure. And if you can kind of keep doing it and keep going on from there, then you can build from that point. At that point, are you sustainable? Probably not. But you are in a spot where you can consider it. When I went full time, I was probably in like the 100 to 200 viewer range on Twitch. My YouTube actually took off really, really early. It's funny, my YouTube now gets less views than it used to. There's more competition now, but it just early on there were less people doing Magic. The algorithm on YouTube is a weird, fickle, mysterious creature that just sort of like picks things up sometimes and just drops things sometimes, So early on YouTube I was doing very well, like 20, 30, 30,000 views a video. Now I do about 10, which is still good. And then it's also the quantity of content too. Because like I said, if you put up, 1 2-hour video a day and there's only 1,000 views on it, but people are watching it for a long time every day, it's much different than, producing one high quality video every month, if you're Mark Rober and you're going to produce an awesome squirrel video that gets 50 million views, you can afford to do one video a month because you're killing it, but that's not really going to work for your average YouTube person, So definitely, I would say on YouTube, you want to be posting ideally 3 to 5 times a week. I do 1 video a day. I actually do 10 videos a week. I do 1 on my main channel a day. Then I have a second channel, but I do 3 a week, which is a lot, but you don't need to start there, but, you'd want to be at least 3 videos a week and then, in the thousands for sure in viewership. Correct. Yeah. And consistency is very, very important, and it's funny because I say this a lot, and my stream schedule is very inconsistent. I had a kid recently. I bought a house a couple years ago, and it's been just kind of like a crazy wild ride where I'm usually on during the day, certain days, but I have no schedule, and it's funny because I hired the assistant and I'm like, we gotta get me on a schedule, and I'm fortunate where I already had a viewership and I've already had the viewership. So the schedule isn't as important for me as it would be to someone who's starting up. But it is important, honestly. It's very, very important to have a schedule, consistency. Your most important thing is creating clear expectations for your viewers, so they know, oh yeah, Jim, he's the Goblin guy, or he's the guy who's on every Monday doing this, or for CGB, he's the guy playing best of one on Arena every day on YouTube, and CGB, I admire him a lot. He's a really cool dude. I love hanging out with him because he's just really, really good at like how finding that niche needs to be addressed and then clearly targeting it and then clearly hitting it. He's the one in best of one. That's his stick, and like everything he does sort of leans back into that. It's very, very clear what he does, where he is, where he'll be, and what he's doing, which is excellent, which is really, really important. Sure. Go nuts.
And the thing is, I'm here because we thought it was interesting that you wanted to see it. So I'm just asking.
Yeah, cool.
What do you think? What drives the most? Like, do you get more drive from TikTok to Twitch, or YouTube to Twitch, or Twitch to YouTube, or which one seems to be the catalyst to get the other one going?
So the question is, what platform is driving the most to the other platforms? I would say that YouTube is huge. I think YouTube is one of the better platforms for growth. Again, when I made my YouTube, it was kind of on a whim. I had been streaming for, I had that year where I was like, all right, I'm gonna stream now. And, I was maybe 6 months in and I'm like, I should have a YouTube, right? Every content creator has a YouTube, I should just do that. And then I got on YouTube. Some of my videos did pretty well. It was a huge influx of people because a lot of folks on YouTube just don't watch streams. For whatever reason, they don't like live content. They're used to watching on YouTube. YouTube is the boomer platform. People on YouTube are definitely kind of entrenched in their ways. They watch their YouTube videos, they do their thing. YouTube has a thing now called Shorts, which are like the vertical form videos that are very similar to TikTok. Those don't do very well on YouTube because that's not what the platform is. The platform is long form, wide, So YouTube has a huge pre-installed base, and by moving to YouTube, that brought all that base to my Twitch streams. So that was probably the biggest influx for me. I'm kind of just getting into Instagram and TikTok now, and those can be very useful because TikTok in particular, their algorithms are really, really good for discoverability. If you have a good TikTok that's really, really good, and you can get, at least some people to see it, if they're watching it through like twice, or 3 times, whatever, TikTok will take it and just keep pushing it to the top, and, I see on my Instagram, typically there's a lot of like cross-pollinating also, where obviously my YouTube stuff is mostly me recording live on Twitch, and then the Instagram stuff is very similar to TikTok stuff, so all the videos, the short form videos go on both. And I can see on Instagram, they're very flat, 1,000 views, 800 views, On TikTok, every once in a while, one of them just hits and it gets like 10,000 views. So Instagram is a really good platform for discoverability, but you're not really monetizing. So it's more of a platform to kind of get people to go to your other stuff. So, yeah, basically, yeah, it's exactly that. It's sort of like this thing, here it is, it's super quick, it's super, snappy. Oh, what's this? Oh, I saw that guy again, And like I said earlier, Scott Seiss, maybe saying his name wrong. He's the guy at TikTok who did the retail guy, angry retail guy stuff, like dum, 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 no, it's Black Friday, you can't do this, whatever. And it was funny, and he's in that movie now, Cocaine Bear or whatever. And like, that movie is very, very aware of viral marketing. It's a very, very modern age movie. I haven't seen it, but like as far as their marketing goes, they've done marketing on Twitch. They've done marketing they do Twitch promotions where like they had you play this little Pac-Man game on stream or whatever. It's like they're very, very in tune with what viral marketing is these days. And I wouldn't be surprised if they hired him because of that, because he's going to promote on his TikTok that he's in the movie, and that cross-pollinates again, same thing. So it's valuable. And you hit a point where you're more valuable to a company to advertise than a commercial is or a billboard is or whatever, because your audience is your audience. They like you, they listen to you. It's not just some random ad on a commercial between a hockey game, And like lately, I've been doing these sponsored things for these games, and they just keep coming. It's a good problem to have, but it's like I did 2 this month out of nowhere. I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this sponsored thing, learn this game. It's good, I'm getting paid for it, but it's like, wow, and they want that because they want this person who people watch literally all the time to do that. And then TikTok's great for that too, where you get on, you do a short, form ad for them, kind of a sponsored, like I know Talia Vess did a Hot Pockets thing recently where Magic had this Hot Pockets crossover, and It's just her on her Instagram, just doing her usual thing, but she has a box of Hot Pockets. She makes a little skit around it. Ryan George, freaking love this guy on YouTube. He's the guy that does pitch meetings. He has his own channel. He does these little silly skits where he green screens himself talking to himself, and they're really funny. They're really, really funny, and they're 5 minutes long. And at the end of every one, he has a sponsor, whoever it might be, and he has this skit that he does every time where he says, "Hi, it's me. I'm the astronaut," and it's him green screened like a little astronaut thing, and he does some extra skit where like he's in the astronaut suit and like it's an ad for a new bed or whatever. Like, boy, when I sleep in my astronaut pod, I'm so sure uncomfortable. Right, flip flap. It was like an alien little thing with a little head. Oh yes, I hate and just like it's a skit. It's very funny, and like you always watch his ads because they're hilarious. But it's an ad. That's worth more than a Super Bowl ad, because the Super Bowl ad, everyone's drinking beers, not paying attention. But I watch all of his ads because they're funny. They're part of a skit. So that's really, really valuable to advertisers. So I got a little off track on your question, I guess, but yeah. So what's up?
I am a content creator, actually. Not a big one.
Cool.
But, so you suggest, like, posting the longer VODs from Twitch to YouTube rather than, like, making a highlight reel or something. So I was considering that, because I post my VODs on YouTube to kind of build a platform to get to affiliate. So you suggest making the longer ones.
I wouldn't make them too long. I think the important thing to do is, so I record my content for YouTube while I'm recording on Twitch, while I'm streaming on Twitch. But I'm not just dumping. I'm not just like taking a stream, dumping it in or whatever. I have the record button on OBS, where if you're streaming, you can also record the video too. When you hit the record button, a pause button pops up also. So I live edit all my stuff. So for example, I'm streaming, we're BSing and hanging out, whatever. I'm like, all right, guys, let's get ready to go. Let's play. All right, so hit record. Yo, what's up, folks? How's your day? We're playing Modern Goblins today. We're playing X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. I'll talk for a bit. I'll do my kind of introduction. Then I'll pause it. I queue up the game. I talk to everyone continuously on stream. When the game starts, unpause. All right, here we are for game number 1. Then I play my game. Then I pause it again. So the end result is I have this video that's already pre-edited, because editing is very expensive. I have an editor that I use for like the bigger stuff that I do, but having an editor for every video would be exorbitantly expensive. And even I'm a full-time content creator and I don't want to pay for it. So by doing kind of little tricks like that, you can take your live form content, repurpose it, but do it in a way where you're not spending a lot of money or time on it. Because if you just dump your Twitch VOD, that does not play well with the YouTube audience. It will to some. It typically plays well to your audience that's already entrenched in what you're doing. So your folks are already watching you, they'll go, oh yeah, I missed the stream, I'll watch it on YouTube. But it's not gonna get you any new audience. So it's very important on YouTube that you can take your content and repurpose it, but it has to be clean, and then it has to have a good thumbnail, a good title, really, really important to kind of grab people in. Otherwise, you're not gonna be using the platform, like I said in number 3 here or 4 here, or whatever, go with the flow of your medium. You're not using the platform as intended. You're using it to host your VODs, but you're not using it to get people in, which is the important part. So I would say definitely go on YouTube, make sure they're clean, make sure you have a good thumbnail, make sure you have a good title, and then lengthwise, 20 to 40 minutes, depending on, what do you play, what game?
Well, Fortnite right now, because I play with my friend.
Okay.
And we have this thing going where he does a random intro every single time I start recording.
Cool.
It's like funny little bit in the beginning of the
That's perfect.
So, yeah.
Cool, so I would say for Fortnite, you want to be shorter. Maybe it's like, maybe 10 to 20, 25 minutes. Keep it short, keep it kind of, because the Fortnite audience is younger. For example, for Magic the Gathering, it's a kind of a longer game. It's older people, they're used to playing longer games, whatever. But Fortnite's kind of a faster, upbeat, shorter attention span kind of game. So 10 minutes, 20 minutes, kind of in that range. The intro idea is great. That's part of doing the thing where I said, why watch you? Oh, they have the funny intros. I like them. They're cool,
I like people watching me because I like to talk to the chat more than I like to focus on the actual game, because my friend and I play the game for fun, funny laughs and stuff. So whenever my friends pop in the chat, I always like to have a conversation with them. And even my mom popped in.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was a real funny experience last week. I usually stream 6 days a week, but
Okay.
break this week because I got burned out. But
Yeah, that's very, very real for sure too. But yeah, I think it's great. I think having you, so you have your kind of your shtick, you have a consistent thing. The thing is, it's like I was saying with the consistency, it's very important that if that's your vibe, and you keep doing that. If you were one day to just be like, I'm try harding today, I'm just gonna not talk. Wouldn't work at all, obviously. So that's great. So then make sure that translates over to the YouTube platform, because the thing is, on YouTube there isn't the live chat. So the folks who are watching need to feel like they're involved the same way your viewers do on Twitch, but they aren't directly, they don't have direct access to you. So make them feel that in some way.
Thank you.
Cool.
I'm a board game, so I just wanted to ask that quick. I
Sweet.
appreciate it.
Sweet. Any other questions? I'm a Ranger fan. Yeah, we're a weird family. I'm a Ranger fan. Wife, what's up? Yeah, I'm a local. Yeah, I'm from Eastern Long Island, and I'm a Ranger fan. Wife's an Islanders fan. My stepson's a Canadians fan, and then the new baby's gonna be like a Nashville fan. I don't know. He's gonna, I'm sure, pick some random team. We're all messed up in the household. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, right. Yeah, the Nordiques, the Hartford Whalers. But cool. Well, thanks so much, folks. Really appreciate it. Thanks to the Long Island Gaming Con, Tabletop Con, and thanks for having me. And I appreciate it. Have a good, folks. Thank you.